Okay, let's do it.
It's time for Cinema Savants.
I like this ship. You know, it's exciting.
Your weekly source for movie news.
An uncharted island.
Let me list all the ways you're going to die.
Movie reviews.
Short of being set afire on stage, he's died the most rock and roll death imaginable.
And the occasional Hollywood rumor.
The only thing we don't have a god for is premature ejaculation. But I hear that that's coming quickly.
Hosted by Todd Vandenberg.
It's like the Mantis. We always get our man.
And Rob Steele.
Mrs. Peacock was a man?
Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
Everyone signed? Yes. Good. On we go.
Welcome to another spectacular episode of Cinema Savants. Alongside Todd, I'm having communications issues, Vandenberg. I'm Dorothy Gale. I'm wearing the dress and everything because this week it's all about sequels and reboots and trailers. Oh, my. But no, actually, we need to go straight into the news because that's where everything happens this week, is in the news that we call the good, the bad, and the whatever. And that's about the way it's going for one of the major releases this week. Did you see this? I loved this. According to all the premature speculation, no, that's not the god they were talking about in the opening credits. Mm-hmm. This weekend is going to be led by newcomers, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Search for More Money, or whatever it's called. And that's not unexpected. That was supposed to be a big movie. The second big movie was supposed to be Baywatch, and it's not. And I love that. It's Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is back in second place with Baywatch kind of limping in third place. As it stands at the moment, Pirates is going to make about $62 million, Guardians awfully close to 20, and Baywatch just over 18. Ha 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 ha! Because I thought Baywatch it was a stupid TV show. Right. And now they're making a parody movie of something that's already stupid. Having it star, I like The Rock in some things, but not these. And what's his name? Is that Zac Efron? I've forgotten who the co-star is.
That's him.
Okay. Yeah, don't care for him either. It just looked it looked stupid. So I'm glad it's tanking. Yay, tanking. Baywatch into the tank. It should be called Tank Watch. I'll shut up and let you about it.
In defense of it looking stupid, it was intended to look stupid, like you said. It's a parody, but the problem is it was kind of a parody anyway. It was a tongue-in-cheek, and you can decide which cheek it was in. When it was on TV, it makes sense as a vehicle for The Rock, but like I said, when the trailers first came out, there's no way in heck I would be watching it. I mean, I think The Rock is great. He's fun, but not my kind of movie. And it's not, there are very few people who think this is their kind of movie, obviously. I mean, Tank Watch is right. I mean, it
looks like 21 and 22 Jump Street, and no.
But not that good. Because they actually did fairly well at the box office. I mean, I have a feeling this is one of those films, and I will never know because, frankly, I can't imagine 10 years from now if I am suffering from a horrible bout of insomnia at 2:30 in the morning and I flip on Netflix, which will be in 3D and it'll be inside my head, that I would still watch Baywatch for nothing because it just doesn't appeal. But no, I have a feeling this is one of those things where every single funny moment in the film is already in the trailer and there's nothing left.
Just keep swimming. Yeah, horrible. The other piece, last week's number one movie, Alien Covenant, did not do well in week 2. What was it, dropped 80%?
70%. Which is
70%.
Horrendous. Yeah. That is a horrendous drop. So, and we were talking in pre-pro. I'm really glad that you looked at the numbers last week and said, wow, it's dropped more than usual day to day over the weekend, and I have a feeling it's going to drop off a lot. Not that I'm glad it dropped off a lot. I'm glad that I managed to pick up on that because it is so bad performing so poorly at the box office, put it that way. It's not that it's a terrible movie. It's just not a great movie, and that's what everybody wanted. Prometheus is kicking its ass. Prometheus is a movie that hardly anybody liked because it was disappointing on so many levels, and it's $30 million ahead of Alien Covenant after 10 days. When a movie that the buzz around it was basically, wow, it was okay, but gee, it sure wasn't up to, when that is kicking your ass, and you have plans for how many more 15,000 Alien movies does Ridley Scott want to make? It's like, buddy, you aren't going to get financing for a damn thing, because people are not liking this movie. I know some people do. It's actually done fairly well critically, which is mind-boggling to me. I think it was like at 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, and personally, I don't see it again. I don't think it's terrible, but it fits in much, much better with Alien 3 and Alien, whatever the hell, Alien Resurrection, than it does with the first two. And expectations are, this is going to be an awesome blend of the horror and action films that were the first two films, not just, this fits in easily with Alien versus Predator regurgitation or whatever you want to call it. I mean,
that was the name, wasn't it?
Yeah, it should have been. I mean, it's disappointing because so many things that should have been homages to the original films are just kind of tired references, because it's just not exciting. You don't give a damn about any of the characters in it because they spend no time character development. I mean, it's fun, but it's so forgettable that the vast amount of the audience has forgotten that it's at the theaters already.
I know I had. I thought it came out in May. What do I know? It's kind of like I found out last night there's supposed to be a Comic-Con near where I live. And
why aren't you there?
I signed up to follow it on Facebook. Well, that's just it. I thought it was coming up in August. No, it was in March. Well, fine. I guess I'm not going.
I guess you're not. Unless you're going next March.
It was just one of those things where, they kind of fumbled it a bit because I didn't get nothing on my Facebook said it's this week, because then I might have gone. I'm not going there, so there. Something else that's not really going, but I'm putting it in the good news anyway because of a spectacular comment that went with this. Someone interviewed Mel Brooks this week at a screening of Young Frankenstein for its 5,000th anniversary or something, and they asked him about Spaceballs 2, because they wanted to make. We know that he wanted to make Spaceballs 2, but it's just never come about.
Right.
And he said, yes, it's still in limbo. But there was a spectacular comment attached to this story that said they should skip the sequel and go straight to the third one and call it Spaceballs 3, The Search for 2.
That would be perfect.
Doesn't that work?
I'm shocked that is not the plan. And what would really work is then they refer to events that would have happened in 2, but didn't because there is no 2. Because Mel Brooks could make that work, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Why can't we have fun things like this instead of bad regurgitations constantly? Oh my gosh. We want Spaceballs 3, please.
There we go. Speaking of 3,
such a happy moment.
They're talking, since John Wick Chapter 2 did such a good job, and that's now out for streaming. DVD is coming soon. They're already going ahead and making a third John Wick movie. Now, I finally got to see John Wick 2 this week, and I liked John Wick 2. I thought it was fun. So, yes, make more. I'm good with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely fun. I hope. I would like to see them, though, is kind of tone it down a little. I don't mean tone it down. Make it a smaller film again, like the first one is, because I don't want them to up the ante and now he has to save the president or some ridiculous bullshit. Because I don't think that at all. Yeah, I don't think that's the route they would take at all. Because hopefully they're smarter than that. But that's the course that Hollywood film typically take, so that I would hope they would drop it back down again. And this time someone insults his goldfish, so he decides to murder everybody on the planet. Right. They need to kind of like bring it back down to the smaller film that John Wick was. I mean, I thought John Wick 2 was great. No problems whatsoever with the direction they went, making it bigger. But I think at some point they're going to lose the focus on the character if they keep getting bigger. So I hope they bring it back down again.
Meanwhile,
but yeah, all for John Wick 3. Yes.
Yes. And now for some good news that happened in an extraordinarily bad way. And this has to do with the Justice League movie. A lot of people complained a lot that Zack Snyder was still in charge of the DC movies, including the Justice League movie. Zack Snyder is stepping down from doing the Justice League movie, even though it's in post-production and everything. And Joss Whedon has picked it up. So even though everything, except apparently a couple reshoots have been done, Joss Whedon's taking over, and maybe he can do something with whatever Zack Snyder did to it. Although the bad news out of this is, as much as I wanted Zack Snyder to step down, I didn't want him to do it like this.
Agreed.
I don't know if you heard the story about this or not.
Yeah, I did.
His daughter committed suicide.
Yeah.
And no, that's not the way I wanted it to happen.
I thought exactly. I heard the same thing and thought exactly the same thing. I mean, very happy that he is not working on the film anymore. And there's some reports that actually Whedon has been working on it for quite a while. That's not just a few touch-ups in reshoots. Right. So that gives me a lot of hope for the film. But yeah, that's just awful news. I mean, if that's what it took, I would gladly watch 10 Zack Snyder films if it would make his daughter happy instead. I mean, that's just right. Awful. And I like some of Zack Snyder's films a lot. I really liked Watchmen. I really liked 300. I can't remember now if it's Day of the Dead or Dawn of the Dead, but the remake that he
Dawning
did.
of the Day of the Dead.
Oh yeah, Dawning of the Day of the Dead with Ving Rhames. I mean, that's a great movie. I mean, he's done some terrific work. It's just lately, it's more like Sucker Punch. Ugh. But yeah, this is just terrible news. So hopefully, I mean, I absolutely commend him for stepping back from this project and taking time to be there with his family and help everybody, including himself, through the process.
Yeah.
Because that's just awful. So hopefully, they can get through it as best they can, and he will be back some point in the future whenever he and his family are ready. But yeah, that was just terrible news. Terrible news.
I'll agree. Other news that's not good. Actually, there's a lot of news that's not good, but nothing near as badly as that.
Right.
Let's go to lighthearted bad news.
We like lighthearted bad news.
Technically, it's a video game news, but it has to do with it's a game based on a movie that I never paid much attention to. Friday the 13th had a video game release this week with a massive multiplayer online version.
Why?
Well, apparently it is an immensely popular game that ran into connectivity issues because it crashed every server they had it on. Which means that many people were playing it.
Right.
Which has led to a lot of complaints to the movie company. Oh crap! I've lost whoever made Friday the 13th, who said we're not going to make any more Friday the 13th movies. There's no call for it. Well, hello. Yes, there is. Look at this game.
Obviously, there is. New Line Cinema.
So, thank you.
That's odd. That obviously Friday the 13th is more popular than Alien Covenant. Yeah, they didn't expect it either, surely, because, like you said, their servers crashed. I can see it's a nice horror figure, and you get to play as this maniacal killer, which is kind of fun.
I don't know that you're playing Jason Voorhees.
Or are you playing? That would be fun. Maybe that would probably be like an Easter egg. It's like, if you complete it, then you get to kill all the teenagers. That would be fun.
It's the expansion pack. Mm-hmm. Comes out with Pikachu.
Download now for $19.99. That's really weird that came out, like you said, 2 days ago, and apparently it's a huge hit. Very weird.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
I love. the big complaint is you guys just made The Ring 3 and it flopped. Why didn't you just make a Friday the 13th instead?
Well, they could have made a Ring movie, and it would have been great if the movie had been any good. They could make Friday the 13th, and it could have been, and it could be lousy. And well, actually, I think, yeah, exactly. I think people would go see it anyway because it's Friday the 13th. People are going to see it no matter what.
That would be the people who would see Alien in that first week. Speaking of movies people go see just on the name, there's a lot of talk about what happened with Vanity Fair and Star Wars, with their big special covers and behind-the-scenes stuff that didn't tell us anything we didn't already know. Except there's one thing that came out afterwards. There's apparently kind of a tiff, kind of almost in the vein of the Rock and Vin Diesel thing that was in The Fast and the Furious. Only this time it's between director Rian Johnson and some guy who had, he had a bit part in the first of the new movies, Mark Hamill. Mark
Interesting,
Hamill,
isn't it?
It is, said earlier this week in an interview, quote, "I pretty much fundamentally disagree with every choice you've made for this character," unquote. And saying this to Rian Johnson, the director. But then he did what most professional actors should do, suck it up and do it anyway. So this is, I'm interested to see where this is going to go now because, I've never seen a behind the scenes tiff like this with a Star Wars movie.
No, and doesn't it tie in so very well to what we were talking about last week, the Japanese poster? Yep. Oh, this is the biggest reveal, the most shocking twist ever. Like
Mark Hamill meets the director. Dum dum dum.
Mark Hamill says you have taken this character in the wrong direction in every way possible. What could that possibly mean? When a Japanese site comes out with the information that this has the most shocking twist. Like, and of course with the tagline in their own trailer, where he's talking about The Last Jedi.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it looks like uh-oh. Which, considering that traditionally the second film is the dark film in the Star Wars saga, it'd be a little difficult to be much darker than that. And frankly, it kind of sucks that if this is true, then the surprise is ruined. But, oh my gosh, we would actually have a villain worth a flip compared to the one that's in the new Star Wars universe as it is now. Instead of a whiny, emo little whatever he is that can't defeat a rookie, we would have
allegedly
a truly big bad. I hope this is right. I would be so happy if this is right because it's going to make a much better movie. And hope, maybe he will kill Kylo Ren just by looking at him. That would make me happy too, because that's a terrible character as it's been portrayed so far. I don't care about the excuses that he's growing into the character. This is kind of like watching Darth Vader become Darth Vader. It's like we saw that, and as whiny and emo and blah as Anakin was in the prequels, he was much more threatening and dangerous than this little twerp. So,
yes. And
again, nothing to do with Adam Driver. I was like, he's playing the role as it's written, and it sucks. So I would love it. If that turns out to be that we have a new big bad. Surprise, surprise. That would be awesome. The only bad thing about it is we're talking about it, and it's May.
Right. We've got a few months to go, people. Like 7.
Yeah.
And I mean, technically, Supreme Leader Snoke, wasn't he in Harry Potter? Anyway, he's supposed to be the big bad guy. But, we saw very little of him in The Force Awakens. And according to Rian Johnson's interview, we're not going to see much of him in this movie either.
Right. And the big reveal will be that, guess who Snoke is in the next one? It's Mark Hamill, which would be awesome.
Didn't I say that last week?
I think you said that last week. The only bad thing would be that it's out there and the rumors are swirling around. So the big surprise would be ruined because no one was talking about, oh, wow, months before The Empire Strikes Back came out that you'll never guess who Luke's father is. That's the problem.
No.
And here we are talking about it, but I don't care because it's fun to talk about.
Maybe Han Solo is Leader Snoke. No. There's a big reveal.
Yeah.
Moving on from Star Wars to another franchise that some say has gone on too long, including the star, and I love this. Resident Evil, what is it, 7000 is coming out, or just came out. So. It's something I didn't pay any attention to. And they've said that they've wanted to reboot Resident Evil for at least the last movie. Mila Jovovich.
Yes.
Jovovich. She of the skinny red hair.
Yes.
Has said that they wanted to reboot this for the last 3. She's wanted it to reboot for the last 4, and she doesn't care if she's in it or not.
Good for her.
That's a hint, folks. It's not going to get much more. We need to stop making these movies than when the star of all of them says, "That's enough. Can we stop now?"
Yeah. That I can understand a little bit of fatigue setting in for her. I did want to run back to Friday the 13th. You were talking about box office and blah, blah, blah. The last Friday the 13th film came out in 2009. Before that, it had been 20 years, so an even longer layoff. Wow. $65 million gross, which is good for a cheaply produced horror film. The funny thing is, the opening weekend, it did $40 million. It did 2/3 of its entire take in its opening weekend. So it kind of dropped off. Which, again, it ties back in with what you said. It's like, yeah, all the people who went to see Alien Covenant opening, they'll go see Friday the 13th, and then it will probably be it. But
that's what people do with Resident Evil movies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But it's shocking that a film that there'd been one installment, in almost 30 years, and 2/3 of everybody who saw the film saw it on the opening weekend. It's shocking to me that the game had that much of a built-in audience. It's amazing. Not a bad thing, just surprising. Yeah. Resident Evil. Well, of course, Resident Evil. At this point, I don't even know which came first, the games or the movies. I think the games came first, but I mean, my God.
The games came first by quite a bit, because there was a Resident Evil game, I want to say, on ye oldie Nintendo Entertainment System.
I'm thinking...
might have been a sneeze.
Charles Babbage probably had a Resident Evil game running at some point, but... Anyway.
Yeah. So, moving on from video games and stuff, back to comic books, because that's more fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the Wonder Woman movie. But there was something that came out this week that is kind of... Oh, dear, you found something else, didn't you? Because all I'm going to say is there's no post-credit stinger thing. What did you find?
It's not something I found, just something I came across that apparently a lot of people are up in arms that the Alamo Theater would have the audacity to have a women-only screening of Wonder Woman.
Oh, there was that.
And it's like, really? You're going to be upset about that? Like, are you serious? Do you feel so freaking entitled that how dare one freaking movie theater have a women-only screening for a movie about, hopefully is about female empowerment? I mean, really? Are you? Do you have nothing else to worry about in this world? Do you not have enough power that this offends you? It's like, go to hell. You guys are idiots. Oh, my God. The guys protesting, that is. I'd be fine if Alamo Theater said, okay, we're going to check your DNA. And you know what? If you got the Y chromosome, you're not watching this movie for the first year. Who cares? It's a promotion.
But you're not allowed to use either bathroom.
Yeah, exactly. My God, it's just
I just thought that was too stupid to put in our show. So yeah,
the poor offended, oppressed white male in the United States. I mean, what's next? Poor babies don't get to see a screening of Wonder Woman. Oh, my God.
Did they want to go that bad? Really?
Get over it. Jesus. Anyway, yes. No post-credit scene. Back to your point.
Well, actually, no, I'm going to move on slightly to the Justice League Dark movie.
Good.
Which is, it's coming, it's not coming, it's coming, it's not coming. They've got a new director, Doug Liman. Guess what? He left. So, here's what we're going to do.
This is as bad as the Flash movie.
Any movie, or any mention, any news connected to the Justice League Dark movie will no longer be mentioned on this show until they've actually started filming. Because this is just stupid. Every other show we've got, there's a new director, there's a new cast, there's new this, new that, new the other. Shut up. Until you start making this damn movie, I want to see it. I like the characters in it. I love the animated version. But look, just get on with it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree.
Banished you are. No more of you. No show for you.
Banished you are. Yes, indeed.
You are.
Banished you are, and banished you shall be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't get it.
Interesting.
Just moving on. Deadpool 2 news. Apparently, they've cast a guy named Jack Kesey to play the villain in the new Deadpool movie. Now, the theory right now is that he's going to be playing a character called Black Tom Cassidy. Now, some of you know Black Tom from the comics. I thought Black Tom was cool, not because of who he was or what he could do, but who he hung out with, which was Juggernaut. And I liked Juggernaut. Juggernaut was cool. But in Deadpool 2, no Juggernaut. Black Tom without Juggernaut is kind of like Abbott without Costello, or Holmes without Watson, or Whitaker without Trammell. No, don't do that. You need them both. Juggernaut can stand on his own because Juggernaut is badass. Black Tom, he shoots energy bolts out of a stick.
Yeah.
So what?
Exactly, so what?
He had the intelligence, he just didn't have the muscle. Juggernaut was more than enough muscle for just about anybody in the Marvel Universe, so they go together. Don't do this without Juggernaut. But they're gonna. So, as far as I'm concerned, there's a strike against Deadpool 2. Not liking it.
And I can't recall the name of the film, but I have seen a film with Bud Abbott, sans Lou Costello. Ain't the same thing at all.
No, doesn't work.
At all. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Yeah, and if you're going to pick one or the other, it'd be kind of hard. Be very hard.
Yes.
It just doesn't. Why would you not pick Juggernaut? I mean, if you're going to go with one.
I mean, technically, they had Juggernaut in what was it, X-Men 3, the last ditch play for money, and they screwed it up horribly because he's not a mutant. His powers are magical based. Not that seemed to stop them from making him a mutant in the movies, which was wrong. Who played Vinnie Jones?
Yeah,
who is a large guy.
Yeah,
but he's not Juggernaut sized.
Well, kind of nobody is, but I mean, yeah.
Get the Big Show from the WWE.
Yeah, I'd rather have someone who can act. Although, actually, as far as wrestlers go, it's pretty good.
Just show up and beat the crap out of people. That would work.
Do Juggernaut with CGI. I mean, you got to do Juggernaut with CGI to do it right. But, yeah, it's kind of, I guess they're just figuring, it's like, you know what? People come see it regardless, because people will come see it regardless. So, in a way, it kind of doesn't matter. But it does go back to the larger problem that Marvel, and of course, this is not the Marvel film universe because this is Fox. This is not Marvel Studios, Disney / But they definitely have a problem with their villains. And there was a take about, of course, Spider-Man Homecoming coming out in July has a classic Spider-Man villain who's not been in yet, which is cool. Vulture, Michael Keaton. So at the least, it's going to be interesting. I mean, just as far as Michael Keaton playing the Vulture. It could be awesome because it's Michael freaking Keaton. And there was talk about that. Well, maybe this will fix the Marvel problem with their villains, which doesn't have anything to do with it because it's Sony. It's not Marvel, so it's a completely different thing. But Marvel does have a problem with their villains in their films. They kill them off, and it would be great if they would stop doing that because they've had great villains. And the worst, by far, the worst to me, the worst snuffing of a villain. They don't kill them all off because Kingpin is running around in the Netflix universe, thank God. The worst by far was Killraven, was the Purple Man in Jessica Jones. Yeah. Tragic that they killed off of that character because far and away that's my favorite Marvel villain in anything I've seen. Because, man, they nailed it. And he was terrifying. And if you don't know why, watch Jessica Jones. My God, what an awesome villain. And now you don't want to watch it because, he dies at the end. But I'm sorry, virtually every Marvel villain is gone at the end anyway, so not a spoiler. They do it all the time. Vulture? Yeah, I don't really care about if they keep the Vulture around. But the fact that Michael Keaton is playing him, that makes it interesting. So it would be nice if the Vulture doesn't turn into some kind of goo on a sidewalk at the end. Because that's kind of what happens to all the villains. Granted, Red Skull could come back.
Except in the forthcoming New Mutants movie. Because they revealed some more plot details about it.
We like it.
And this is the last of my officially bad news thing. They said they're doing a different superhero movie. They're going to make it different than all the other X movies before. And my thought is, you're going to put them in the correct costumes and have them fight someone we care about? No. They said specifically, in this movie, there will be no costumes. Well, then it's not different than your other movies, is it? They said there's not really going to be a bad guy. It's going to be them versus themselves as they control their powers, which just doesn't sound like a good idea. They said, and I love this comparison, and I'm trying to figure out how this would work. They want it to be a combination of a John Hughes movie and a Stephen King movie.
No.
I'm like, that's setting up to be a failure.
Yeah, virtually a guarantee it would be the worst of the John Hughes movies and the worst of the Stephen King movies. No, please, no. And no costumes. Oh, there's a switch, like you said. I mean, really?
Yeah.
Half the time they're not wearing costumes. Whatever. Instead of trying to do things differently, how about trying to do things right? Try that for once. Okay, twice. Because I think they've gotten a couple X-Men movies twice right, but good Lord.
So
it's exhausting. It's exhausting to see this crap.
You said the magic word whatever, which leads right into the news that I can't figure out whether I want to do or not. Which starts off with a Stephen King thing, actually. There's a cameo forthcoming in the movie The Dark Tower. And I'm pretty sure I wouldn't notice it because as much as I look for cameos, I wouldn't know to look for Cujo, who is supposed to make an appearance in The Dark Tower. And my question for you, because you're more into this genre than I am, how can you tell it's Cujo and not say it's like Beethoven?
I was going to say, does anybody care about Cujo? Oh, look, there's a random St. Bernard. I'm terrified. This forth all my memories of the film with the god-awful young actor. I can't remember his name, and I'm not going to bother looking up his name because I don't want to besmirch his name for his awful performance in that film. Cujo's not a memorable movie. It's not a memorable book. I mean, it's like, it's a rabbit St. Bernard, and maybe it's spooky and maybe it's not. It's like, really? A whole book about someone trapped in a car because there's a rabbit St. Bernard out there that wants to kill him. And there was something out in the woods of Derry, Maine that got into it doesn't matter. Who cares? You're going to reference everything then. Make sure, have the Dark Man driving up in Christine while you're at it. Come on. Who gives a damn about Cujo? I have not read any of the Dark Tower series just because it's one of those things is like, I'm not really prepared to read 9,000 Stephen King books. Stephen King is one of my favorite authors. I don't think he's technically a good writer, but I think he's a fantastic storyteller. He's a good writer, but there are better writers out there, but he tells great stories. But for whatever reason, never got into the dark. Really looking forward to this because casting is kind of cool, obviously. But and I get it. There's this giant universe that Stephen King has talked about many times, and it all connects, and that's cool. But Cujo, really? Seriously? That's something you're going to bother with? Exactly what you said. Oh, look, a St. Bernard. I bet it's Cujo. It would be more fun if it's Beethoven and there's like 10 million little puppies that follow him, especially if they're all possessed. That would be fun.
Have Cujo mounting Beethoven with music in the background. I'm sorry, that just ran through my head. Moving on to another thing I can't tell if I care about. I actually like Rowan Atkinson when he does things like Blackadder. Not so much when he does things like Mr. Bean and brace yourself, there's going to be a third Johnny English movie. I can't bring myself to care. Can you?
No. Considering I did not see any previous incarnation of Johnny English. No, can't care whatsoever.
Those are definitely the movies where you see the trailer and go, yes, the funniest parts are already here. Saw them, haha, moving on.
Is he financing
another sequel that?
Because why would you make a third? Why would you make a third Johnny English movie?
I don't know.
I mean, just from the monetary
made
standpoint,
$160 million global, but that's not a whole lot.
Johnny English Reborn? Unbelievable.
As somebody else?
No. Yeah, why would you? God. Anyway.
Other sequels that we don't need.
That's why.
Boss Baby 2 is set for March of 2021. Now, my thought on this is, wouldn't that make him at least 4 years older and thus no longer a baby? So you've already screwed up your concept.
Indeed it would. It'd be Boss Toddler. And it's not very alliterative, so it doesn't work. Maybe there's a new Boss Baby. Oh, that's what it is. He's fighting a corporate takeover.
There we go. Don't care.
I already don't care. Yeah.
Tom Cruise, because he's in the whatever news. Tom Cruise has said, yes, there is going to be a Top Gun 2. We're going to start filming it next year. And I got to say, I'm not sure I remember Top Gear 1. And when I tried looking it up, I kept accidentally typing Top Gear and getting much better things to look at.
I'm sure you did. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
I'm sorry. I didn't care.
I'm kind of ambivalent about it. I'm sure a lot of people will be interested, and they actually could do a fairly interesting job with it, depending on what direction they go. I imagine he's going to be the crusty older head of the station where he's running the training, blah, blah, blah. And he has some young, hot recruit who will probably be, well, it won't be Ryan Gosling because that's too much star power. But it'll be someone like that. Hopefully not Zac Efron. But they'll be the new hot shot that he has to tone down and then recognize, but his heart's in the right place. I'm already decided I don't want to see it.
Don't forget Sleep With, because we have to use that damn Berlin song again.
Yeah, true. I decided I don't want to see it already. I talked myself out of it. Oh, well.
Good idea.
A lot of people want to see it.
There were a lot of trailers that hit this week, some of which had things I'm interested in seeing. Although I'm going to have to start with something that a Netflix series, an anime version of the video game Castlevania. And I don't know if you saw this or not, because it kind of snuck under the radar, and I knew it was coming and still almost missed it. It looks good. It looks like a good horror anime series. Although I'm not sure how accurate it is with a video game, because I have to admit, I never played the video game.
Oh, I played the video game. It would be
there we go.
Hard to remember at this point, but it doesn't really have to be accurate to a video game. It's like, not really. Especially a video game that old. It's like, has to have some guy named Simon and he has to kill a lot of vampires. That's pretty much it. So,
well, in that case, it looks like they did a good job. So
there you go. I've not had a chance to catch the trailer, but that's cool. That's listen. If Friday the 13th, if a game based on a movie that's that old can do that well a series based on a game series, which was crazy popular and actually still is.
It was.
Yeah.
Very much.
I can imagine. As long as they do a good job, Netflix should have another hit on their hands. I'll watch it because I'm goofy.
Something that looks like it's going to be good, although I know it's going to go straight into the cult classic genre, is Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets.
Yeah.
Which we both said the original trailer looked awesome. There is a new trailer that looks even more awesome, but I was very distracted by the music in the trailer. Did you catch what that music was? Because I know you watched the trailer.
Did not.
Okay. See, it's the first thing that hit me. I was like, I know that music. Where do I know that music? And I spent the next half hour going, is it this? No, going over here. And it's an extraordinarily orchestral version of Coolio's Gangsta's Paradise. And
That's awesome.
It is, but at the same time, I'm thinking that's the music you chose to put in the background of a massive sci-fi movie. Really?
Hey, it works for Guardians of the Galaxy. Maybe it'll work for this. I mean, it's completely different concept, obviously.
Completely different tone.
But
go back and listen to the trailer. If you've seen the trailer, go back and listen to it.
No,
that's what it is. It took me a while to track down because I'm like, I haven't heard this song in 20 years. But there it is. So, there we go. Gangsta's Paradise in Space by Luke Besson. Spectacular.
I hope Snoop is in it. Just a cameo. Even if it's just in post-credits, that would be awesome.
Coolio, not Snoop.
Coolio, not Snoop, sorry. What the hell's wrong with me?
Although they both had the same hair at one point. Let me French kiss a light socket and braid it that way, which I never got. But I'm not meaning to. That's just a thing. That's what it looked like to me. Anyway, moving on to the less controversial subject of the new DC animated movie, and I'm fairly certain I found one that I'm not going to like as much as the others. It's for the forthcoming Batman and Harley Quinn movie. And it's not the plot or anything. It's that it looks like a hastily thrown together Justice League Unlimited episode. And if you watch the old, the Batman animated series, Superman, Justice League, whatever, there are some episodes where you looked at them and went, they rushed this one because it doesn't look as good as the others. And that's what this looks like, is one of those rushed episodes. I hope it's not. I hope it turns out good. But I'm just going by the trailer. I'm going, I may skip this one.
That would be sad.
Have you seen that?
I've not seen the trailer. I've read about it, but I've not seen the trailer for it. That'd be sad because, they brought back Kevin Conroy, which is very pleasant. But, yeah. Kevin Conroy makes bad jokes in the trailer. Ooh. Oh, dear. Yeah. Don't do that. Not a good thing. Mm.
Something else that came out this week, as far as trailers are concerned, and I'm disappointed that they do this. The so-called final trailer for Spider-Man Homecoming came out this week, and we saw nothing in this trailer that we either A, haven't seen before, or B, couldn't have worked out that it would have happened. It's just a whole bunch of, we've seen this already. Can we get something new? If you want something new, watch the final international trailer for Spider-Man Homecoming, where we get scenes like camera work that because Spider-Man works for the Daily Planet and films himself. He does that in the trailer, filming himself at the Civil War scene from Captain America 3. Or we finally get some motivation behind the character of the Vulture. Who his motivation is, he's a weapons dealer, and he steals a whole bunch of stuff from the Avengers Armory. holy crap, there's a plot to the movie. So,
how nice.
Skip the final trailer, find the international one. It's on YouTube. So yeah, did you see either of them this week? Because I think the international one works so much better.
I did not see either of the trailers, and I will definitely be watching the international trailer. Just because that sounds interesting. At some point, you kind of feel like you've seen the movie if you watch too many of the trailers, if they show too much.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I'll watch the international because that does sound interesting. Very cool. And by the way,
himself seems cute. Yes.
Speaking of the Spider-Man Homecoming film, have you seen any of the hubbub, disruptive, whining, and general blah over the poster for Spider-Man Homecoming?
Poster? No, I missed this.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of discussion about the Spider-Man poster, that it's just looks amateurish, it's too busy, et cetera, and I gotta say, I agree. Jesus, there's like 50,000 people on the poster.
Yeah, it's the same thing that they did with Star Wars.
Right, which, oddly enough, this one article I was reading about said, well, the Star Wars poster was kind of the same, but it worked because of, it's like, no, it didn't work because it was also too busy. But good God, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people depicted on the poster. 10 people depicted on the poster for Spider-Man Homecoming. Do you really need 10 people? And to be fair,
it's only 8. Spider-Man and Peter Parker and Iron Man and Parker are the same
and the Vulture
people.
And the Vulture.
And Vulture.
So really, there's only 7, but they're on there way too much. I mean, you got to have Spider-Man because it's a Spider-Man movie. Got it.
Hello.
You kind of should have the Vulture because he's the villain. Maybe Iron Man, although frankly, I wouldn't bother putting on Iron Man. I mean, I know he's an important part of the film, but does he need to be on the poster? It's a Spider-Man movie. No. And on top of that, then you've got the backdrop. You've got, oh my God, how much crap is going on in the background here. God. You know, we were talking last week, we talked about the poster for, which neither of us liked, for the Last Jedi. And the thing I liked about it is very minimalist. You know, it's 3 things. That's it. They're in really terrible proportion and it looks stupid, but it works. This is just like a 12th grader went crazy with Photoshop and said, I'm going to send this in and see if they like it. God, it's ugly as crap.
It's not the worst poster I've ever seen, but yeah, they should have done better with this.
Oh my God. Yeah. And and it's a minor thing, but Jesus, seriously, just print the script. It would be less busy than this. My gosh, I'm in this Warner Brothers thing, which I did mention. I don't think I mentioned on there, but they have a Warner Brothers deal where basically they're asking about your opinion of various marketing concepts. Basically, what they ask about, and some of the things they come up with. What do you think of this poster? What do you think of that poster? Which is interesting and it's fun. And I haven't seen anything remotely this bad that they've come up with. It's much more about placement. Should it be 2 figures or 3 figures? But really?
Now, see, I found the international trailer or international poster, which has Spider-Man, Vulture, and Iron Man on it, and the Avengers Tower in the background, and that's it. And this makes a much more interesting poster.
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
Or the early image that they had of Spidey kicking back with headphones on, in costume, with a jacket from high school. Yeah, with New York background. That's an awesome poster. It's like, that tells you more about what this movie is about, you would hope, than this. It's like, oh, it's got the Vulture, and it's got the guy who's playing the Vulture, and it's got Tony Stark, and it's got Iron Man, and there's Aunt May, and there's the chick that he really likes, and then there's that's probably the Tinkerer. I don't know who that guy is, but he's got some really flashy crap going on in the background. And there's helicopters at the Washington Monument, and there's sparks, and
there's the whole movie in one No, stop it.
Yeah,
this needs to be toned down a bit.
Toned down a lot. Like, it would be a better poster? The word Spider-Man Homecoming, in red on a black poster. That's it. That would be a much better poster. This thing is god-awful.
Wanted to get your opinion on something that is not Spider-Man related. It's Star Trek related. It's an article I read this week, and I'm not entirely sure how old this is, but I like the way it was phrased. It was an interview with Brent Spiner, who was talking about the future of Star Trek movies and whether Data would come back or not. And he said since Brent Spiner hasn't aged well, as opposed to Patrick Stewart, who hasn't aged at all, I liked the phrasing of that. If Data returns to the screen, Brent Spiner says, no, it's not going to be him, but he'd love to see Tilda Swinton do it.
That's cool.
Yeah, I thought that would work really well. Do you think that would work well on a screen, and would it be accepted?
I think that would work really well on the screen. I think it would be accepted and acceptable, but I could give a damn if Data ever shows up again. Why would you want Data again? Like, can we have some different characters? I don't want Data. I mean, it's a good character. It's interesting, but it's a different thing.
But he's a white
Just leave
man.
it alone.
Star Trek. Oh, wait, no, we can't.
He's a white android. Actually, he's kind of a beige android with a little bit of gold tinge. Yeah, that would be cool.
Such a stupid argument.
Tilda Swinton? Absolutely, that would be cool. But Data? Who the hell needs Data in new Star Trek movies? No.
I don't know.
Let's have some interesting new characters, perhaps. That would be fun, as opposed to rehashing crap that they've done. And in the new Star Trek films, yeah, you should have Kirk, you should have Spock, you should have the core crew. But let's not go back to, let's have characters from spin-offs. And yeah, I know it was extremely popular. But no, I don't want any of them. I don't want Worf. Now, they're the only two who could reasonably show up anyway. And I don't want either one of them. I like both the characters, but let's move on.
I wouldn't mind seeing what they did with Worf with the way they do the new Klingons.
Which would be interesting. And as far as it goes, Tilda Swinton as Data, that would be fascinating. That would be cool. So good for him for making that call. But as far as having Data, period, no thanks.
Nope. I think we can. I'd like to move on to another ship.
Let's move on to another ship.
I mean, I know that's what we're doing with Discovery, which is expanded to a 15-episode season. And actually, I want to get your opinion on this. I think this
may finally be seen. Yes.
They said they're doing a 15-episode season with an after show.
Yeah.
Are after shows necessary? Because I don't like it. If I want to talk about a show with somebody that I just watched it with, I want it to be the person sitting on the couch next to me, or the next morning at the water cooler, something like that. I don't need to have Chris Hardwick, because that's who they're going to get for this.
Of course they will.
Tell me what I just I know what I just watched, Chris. Let's form some new opinions about it with my friends whose opinions I care about.
I do watch The Talking Dead at times, because at times it's fun, because it's interesting to hear what actors who were in the show say. But I'm a huge fan of The Walking Dead, not a huge fan of The Talking Dead, just for the reasons you said. It's kind of interesting at times, but I don't make it a point as like, I got to watch The Talking Dead, I got to see what they have to say about it. And he does a fine job. We talk about Chris Hardwick and we mock him a lot. He virtually is on everything. But he's fine in that role. He's fun. I like him. But exactly what you said, don't really care that much about, the after show. I think I'm not surprised they're going with that, because it's cheap to do, and it's another hour, I'm assuming, of programming, which is, weird, and they're going to need programming on CBS Access or whatever the hell they're calling it this week. But yeah, it's strange to do this. I guess in a way it's not strange, because this is the thing. I mean, at some point within 10 years, I can see where there will be 35 shows on broadcast TV, and there will be 35 after shows talking about what you just watched, because that's the trend, and it's cheap. And out of those 35 shows, only 5 will be scripted, and the rest will be reality, because also it's cheap. I'm
just worried that we're going to get to where it's all going to be just after shows, and then we're going to have all after show. Oh, by the way, here's what we're talking about. No
original show.
No, don't do that either.
And that's basically what we're doing. We're doing the after show of something that you should have watched 10 years ago.
There you go. Or 30 years ago, like Airwolf.
Exactly. Or 40 years ago, like Robin and Marion, which I wanted to mention before we go, which we'll get to.
Oh, go ahead.
Yes. Oh, go ahead. I'll go ahead. I wanted to start something new, because it seems all too often there's something new that comes out, and it doesn't live up to my expectations. Often it does, like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which was wonderful. Often it doesn't, though. So I want to make sure that I at least always mention something I really liked, really enjoyed. And this week it'll be Robin and Marion. Didn't get a lot of buzz at the time, despite the fact that it starred Sean Connery and Audrey Hepburn. And it is, of course, about Robin Hood and Maid Marian, but it's a different take than anything that had been done before. Hasn't been done since. God knows there have probably been maybe half as many Robin Hood movies as there have been Sherlock Holmes movies, which means there's probably only been 50. This is Robin after he comes back from the Crusades. He's been gone for decades. Comes back to Sherwood Forest. Things are different. Maid Marian has gotten herself off to the nunnery because she was not pleased when Robin left her. So she's been a nun, and it's just about the adjustment of coming back. A lot of it is fun, because it's a frickin' Robin Hood movie with Sean Connery as Robin Hood. How could it not be fun? But it is also Robin Hood in his 40s, and it's Robin Hood in his 40s in about the year 1160-something. So, if he made it to 40, as one of the characters said to Cole Williamson playing Little John, you've had a good life. So he's a little bit beat up and a little bit run down. But the cast is awesome. Nicole Williamson, as I mentioned, is Little John. Connery and Hepburn. Richard Harris plays Richard the Lionheart. Not a big role, but he's in it. Robert Shaw, one of my favorite actors, he's the villain. And one of the things that's different in this film, typically the Sheriff of Nottingham is the foil. He's a rube. A lot of times he's comic relief. He is the true villain in this one. It's not Prince John / King John, depending on what point in the time frame you're looking at. The Sheriff of Nottingham is very smart, doesn't make mistakes, and is definitely the enemy of Robin, but grudgingly admires him and respects him. And, of course, it winds up being about their conflict, but it's about the relationship between Robin Hood and Maid Marian, and where do they go from here. It's in a lot of ways, it's a very serious adult film, and I don't mean adult like that kind of adult, so don't be stupid. But, deals with themes of aging, deals with themes of dreams and where you go from here. Has an interesting ending. That's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to spoil it for you. When the movie first came out, and I am old enough to have seen this in the movie theater, and it did come out in 1976, I was not happy about the ending. As time has gone on, and I just watched it again, I think Thursday, I've come to appreciate the ending because it does make sense, perfect sense in the context of the film. It's a really, really good movie. I don't know if it's a great movie, but it's full of great performances. It's Sean Connery allowing himself to look old because he's supposed to be old. Audrey Hepburn is gorgeous inside and out, always. But, I mean, it's an older Audrey Hepburn than you remember from like Breakfast at Tiffany's and whatever, and Robert Shaw is freaking amazing. It's such a good movie, and frankly doesn't get anywhere near the acclaim it should. So it was just recently, I believe, on Turner Classic Movies, which again, an awesome source for all kinds of wonderful films. I know it's like $3 on Amazon Video. I'm sure it's available somewhere for free also. But Robin and Marian, 1976. Awesome, fun, cool movie. And yeah, it's not all fun because, like I said, it does deal with some serious themes. But definitely one you should catch if you did not catch it the first time around when you weren't even born.
I was around. I just didn't care because I was like very young at the time. No, it's on YouTube's, iTunes, Amazon Video, Vudu, and Google Play, all for $2.99.
There you go. And it's definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. Yeah. Really good movie. A really good movie. And just like I said, the performances are like, wow. Those are movie stars and those are actors, both. Actually,
speaking of Sean Connery, just to throw this out in case you missed it, somehow Roger Moore died this week.
Yes.
Which, the thing that, he wasn't our favorite Bond. I think we've said that a few times on the show, but we still don't want him dead.
Exactly.
It threw me off that he was 4 years older than Sean Connery.
Right, yeah.
Usually you cast someone younger.
He's my least favorite Bond, but he was still fun to watch. I remember when he did the TV show The Saint before he was Bond, and he was great in that. I mean, he's a very fun actor, and like you said, it's like, it doesn't matter if I hated him as Bond. It's like, it's sad that Roger Moore is no longer with us. At least he had a long, rich, fulfilled life, unlike what has happened with some other celebrities recently. So, still, it's sad that Sir Roger Moore, is no longer with us. And
on that note, let's do something cheerful to end up the show with. What kind of other shows are you doing next week?
Please, let's not end it. Yep, he's dead, and we'll be back with another dead person next week because that's all that happens anymore. At least so far, This is a much better year than 2016, when it seems like every time you turned around, another cultural icon was dead. Like, let's not ever go through that again. Oh, my gosh. Hey, it's almost June, and we're about 700 celebrities behind, thank goodness.
Chris Hardwick, Chris Pine, and Sean Connery are on a bus.
Don't say that.
Just saying.
Yes, the Seahawks show will be on Tuesday. Actually, I think it's going to be on Thursday. Hopefully, they will have a special guest on it. I said we. I'm not going to be on it, but there will be a special guest, a former Seahawk, former Green Beret, current all-around awesome human being. So look forward to that on Thursday. But the day before that, of course, Mr. Ted Hicks, the fabulous one himself, will have Late Night Parent on Wednesday. And to the best of my knowledge, if you happen to be in Long Island, or if you're smart enough to look up things on the internet, latenightparent.com, you can listen to his live show, which is tonight, 7 o'clock. And you have things.
Oh, hopefully this week there will be a 2 pages project episode. As always, if you want to become a published author, seriously, send me a short story. I'll turn it into an ebook and an audio book. Be on the show. I need more stories. This week I don't have one, so I'm writing one tomorrow. I have it in mind, and it's going to be twisted if it comes out. So there.
Yep. And I almost forgot. It won't be this week because it'll be next week. Actually, it will be this week. Danny Thompson does a great NBA show on the Happy Hour Network. He's going to be doing the shows immediately after the finals, after all, if we're lucky, 7 games of the NBA finals. And I believe the plan is he will be going on at midnight. So he'll be on right after the games. Then again, just look for Danny Thompson on the Happy Hour Network, and he will be doing that after every game. So hopefully we will have several of those shows. So I definitely look forward to that because he has great takes in the NBA, and hopefully this will be a fun series. Unlike the entire NBA so far this season.
This season? Right.
Thinking more of the postseason. But anyway, yes. Just saying.
And then also on Friday, be a new episode of The FWAT Show. And you know what? While you're at it, go to the Coil Entertainment Network website, coil.us, and check out the shop. Because we've got T-shirts and coffee mugs and hats and everything, and there will be a Cinema Savants shirt soon.
And they're pretty.
They will be, yes. Support the show.
And many of them are green.
They could be. I'll make them multicolored with a picture of Todd right on the front.
Oh, my God, please. I thought you wanted to sell something. That being said, I think it's time to say goodbye.
Good night, everybody.
Ariel! Oopa! Ride!
Do you think they will let me live in Montana?
I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said, I drank what?
Man, we have a weird job.
It's shameful, but it's a living.
Darn, that's the end.